Palantir Stock 2030 is the 254 price target realistic or over-optimistic? Since entering into AI investing as an opportunity for investment at the start of this current AI investing cycle, Palantir has built a large following. Early supporters of Palantir should have profited handsomely. Now, Palantir became one of the early celebrity names of the AI trade. There is acknowledgement that people who bought early into the AI wave likely did very well because the stock attracted a huge following and rose with a broader AI excitement. And we see that built a large following suggests Palantir is not just a business story, it's also a market mood story. It has become one of those stocks people talk about, argue about, and track obsessively. And this is also a subtle reminder that the easy money may already have been made for early buyers. And the setup next part is if the stock already ran so much, what happens now? However, over the last few months, Palantir stock price has experienced some volatility and has been underperforming compared with most other technology-based companies. Now here is the way the tone turns cautious, and we are seeing that the stock has become choppy and has lagged other tech names lately. That matters because investors often assume a strong AI stock will keep rising in a straight line. But markets do not usually work that way. Volatility means the stock has been swinging around more than investors may like, and underperforming means it has not kept up with the broader tech sector. And also this is important because it shows that it's not only blindly bullish. Even though Palantir is a strong name, the market has started to question how much upside is left at the current valuation. For instance, Palantir stock price did not participate meaningfully in the AI rally that began in April of this year, has declined approximately 30% since reaching its record high, and was barely affected at all by Palantir's impressive financial year fiscal year Q1 earnings report. This gives us 3 examples of that recent weakness. First, the stock did not really join the April AI rally. Second, it had recently fallen about 30% from its peak. And thirdly, even strong quarter results did not produce much of a stock reaction. That last part is especially revealing. When excellent earnings barely move a stock, the market may already be discounting a lot of good news. And also we see that essentially Palantir is in a difficult psychological zone. Good news exists, but the market is no longer rewarding it in the same way. That often happens when valuation gets stretched and expectations become very high. Therefore, many investors are asking whether now is the right time to purchase Palantir shares, or it will just drop back down again once it reaches a certain level based on the previous history of its stocks. And this one turns into a real investor question: buy now or wait for a pullback? The author is pointing to Palantir's tendency to bounce, stall, and retreat after strong runs. That kind of pattern creates a lot of anxiety for traders and long-term investors alike. And we also see that it reflects a common psychological problem. People want to know whether the current level is a launchpad or a trap. And in plain English, the market is asking whether Palantir is a durable compounder or the stock that keeps getting overextended and then retracing. That is the tension that we see here. What makes the AI platform different? Palantir's foundation is focused on the company's primary product, AI-based data analytics services, which is utilized heavily in the military and intelligence industries and have now been applied to business, which tells us that the origin story of Palantir's product strength. The company's roots are in the government, defense, intelligence, and data-heavy decision-making. And we see that the foundation has now been extended into business user cases. This is important because it suggests Palantir did not start as a generic software firm trying to catch the AI wave late. It came from an environment where data, security, and operational complexity were already central. That gives us the company credibility in the AI conversation. The sentence is saying the commercial story is built on a very serious high-stakes government background. The company has only taken an advantage of the generative AI movement, but has also adopted its own solutions around it to deliver AIP software as a practical tool for companies to implement AI technologies throughout their businesses. This tells us Palantir is not merely riding the AI hype cycle. It is trying to package AI in a usable enterprise through its AI platforms or AIP. The word practical matters a lot. It implies Palantir is trying to help companies do real work with AI, not just produce flashy demos. In other words, the author sees Palantir as a company that is operationalizing AI, not just marketing it. That makes the bull case stronger because enterprise software tends to win when it is embedded into workflows and used for actual business decisions. Through scalable AI agent capabilities and minimizing the number of employee resources needed to perform business activities by automating processes, Palantir can deliver insightful data to business decision makers in real time. Here we see the supposed value proposition. If Palantir can automate tasks and reduce the labor needed for business processes, then it can save customers money and speed up decisions. Real time is a powerful word because businesses increasingly want fast, continuously updated intelligence instead of slow reports. And we see also this reflects the current AI enthusiasm around agents, automation, and workflow replacement. The idea is that Palantir software can function like an always-on digital assistant for organizations, helping managers decide faster and operate more efficiently. That's a big claim, but it is also the heart of the bullish thesis. Palantir has built credibility as a supplier of technology to the government first by leveraging that expertise into non-governmental firms, has significantly expanded the total market for its technologies and has developed a significant competitive advantage over other providers, which tells us that Palantir's government work gave it trust and technical depth that competitors may not easily copy. And we see the argument here that the company used the credibility to expand into commercial clients, which enlarged the addressable market. And in plain terms, the same systems that solve hard government problems can also be sold to businesses that face complex data problems. And also see that this is making a moat argument. Palantir's past experience may give it an edge over a rival trying to sell AI software without that same track record. That is a very important part of the bullish valuation case because a premium stock usually needs a premium moat. Since 2023, Palantir's revenue growth has increased every quarter, demonstrating both a greater number of customers using generative AI technology and evidence of continued rapid adoption among new customer segments. This is about momentum. Growth has not just been strong, but consistently improving quarter after quarter since 2023. That is important because investors love accelerating growth. The sentence also suggests adoption is broadening, not just coming from one niche. New customer segments mean the company may still be early in its commercial expansion. That kind of message supports the idea that Palantir could keep growing for years if the product continues to win users and user cases. Looking beyond the next few months helps establish direction. So it signals a shift from short-term trading to long-term investing. And the author is saying that a stock like Palantir should be judged over years, not days. And that makes sense for a company whose value depends on long-term adoption, margin durability, and enterprise expansion, which prepares the viewer for a multi-year model, which is exactly what follows. And at this time, analysts on Wall Street are predicting growth rates of 71% for 2026, 45% for 2027, which gives baseline assumptions from Wall Street estimates. And these are very high growth expectations and form the starting point for the 2030 projection, which matters because valuation models are only as good as their assumptions. If the growth path is weaker than this, the end valuation will likely be lower. If it is stronger, the 254 target could prove conservative. So this is about the foundation of the whole future price argument. If we continue with these annualized growth rates through 2028 to 2030, assuming 40% year-over-year growth, it would put Palantir's total revenue growth around $30.4 billion by 2030. Now, this assumes Palantir can keep growing at 40% a year for several more years and ends up nearly $30.4 billion in revenue by 2030. This is a very aggressive but not absurd number in the context of this logic. And the key point is that the 254 target is not pulled from thin air. It comes from a revenue model. Whether you agree with the model is the real issue. And here we are seeing that if you buy the growth path, you can get to a very large revenue base. What are your thoughts? Please remember to put God first in whatever you do. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you then.